Good morning all, welcome back to another video. Peter Kennedy, Kennedy's Garage, Portlaw. Getting into a little bit of a different one today. First time I've encountered this. It's a Mazda 6. Not another bloody Mazda, but she's a newer version at this stage. So we have a 2019 Mazda 6 at this point in time. Message we're getting on the dash at this point is oil level too high. This car has come from a 4-month ordeal around Dublin. The 4-month ordeal, anyway, started back there on the 31st of the 8th, and then it wound up so far with here on the 10th of the 4th. Left car at Kennedy's Garage for an assessment. So we're the final of 3 pages of stuff, and what the girl or someone has put into it is a urea tank at that value, okay? Load of screenshots of what messages she was seeing, but she says she's getting an FCR message on the dash on a fairly prevalent basis, rolling on and on and on and on. So we have, in theory, in these, what SCR is Selective Catalytic Reduction, and its job, the AdBlue system, its job is in the exhaust system. So this is nothing to do with diesel particulate or any of that kind of stuff. It's in the exhaust system. They have an injector stuck in after the DPF, the diesel particulate filter. Basically, I'd say it's like an aerosol can. It sprays out an atomized spray of urea and water. So there's 33% urea, and the rest is whatever kind of water to use. I don't make AdBlue, but I know on a refractometer where you can check the quality. It's 3.3, something along those lines. I can't remember off my mind. Basically, it sprays in, mixes with the actual exhaust gas on the way out. Then you have NOx sensors in the exhaust, which measures the NOx gases on the way back out. And the urea and water, well, the urea basically, that atomized urea that's mixing with the exhaust gas on the way out, should, between NOx sensor number 1 and NOx sensor number 2, we should have a reduction of about 90% of NOx gases because of the urea mixing with it, okay? Now, what basically in these cars, we have 2 or 3 EGR valves, okay? 2 electronic, 1 mechanical. Now, this is the newer type engine, so that they're rolling from the actual. Okay, we've only 2. I'm wrong on that. And again, I didn't even pull the bonnet on this, so maybe the engine is different than what I'm kind of normally working. But normally they have 2 EGR valves anyway. 1 going through a cooler, 1 not. Better pull the bonnet just to verify for myself. But they changed the camshaft, so the camshaft that used to fail on these was because it entailed an EGR valve, mechanical EGR valve on them, and all EGR valves basically leave in exhaust gas back into the engine again. So it takes from the exhaust system back up, back in. On some cars from the exhaust itself, on other cars then from the actual exhaust manifold, or in the other Mazdas from the actual internals of the cylinder head. It'll bring out or roll out exhaust gas. Now, EGR valves are to reduce NOx gases. So if EGR valves are to reduce NOx gases and they brought in AdBlue to reduce it more, could we have, a mechanical failure versus an AdBlue or a urea tank failure in this thing, or what's going on? Right now I'm going to show you fault codes, and we start digging as we roll on forward. We're using the Think Tool Master X2, is it? Just looking to see. In engine oil level, we have what we said there, P252F, engine oil too high. That's that message, which she's getting reoccurring fairly commonly. We've a P3203, reductant valve value over temperature protection active. Then we have a P2BAF, NOx system driver inducement active. P032F, combustion engine producing insufficient torque. So now could we have an intake manifold or something that's slightly blocked or restricted? Now, I have been driving it and it is driving the finest. And then we have the last one there, P250B, engine oil level sensor, circuit, range or performance. Could all of this be derived from that problem? She has got the oil changed in it. The garage that has been dealing with her has, they said, put in too much oil, and they have, she said on a couple of occasions, taken oil from it. Now these are kind of topsy-turvy yokes, because if you start the car, run the car and dip it for oil, normally the oil will show up lower on the dipstick than it will in 15 or 20 minutes time, because after about 20 minutes it rises by about 10 mil on the dipstick, in my experience. We're going to get away from this and just see what other faults we have in here. Interesting ones in here in SCR, so Selective Catalytic Reduction. P20BD reductant heater B control circuit open. P20B9 reductant heater A control circuit open, which is a funny and or a strange one. With it being covered by warranty, with other garage being kind of tied in here, I have to go and just have a look for her. I'm not really after getting authorization on fixing anything here. I'm just doing clarity on where we're at, what we're up against. We might just have a little fast look up here and see, have we any messages in our maintenance. They're all fairly good in maintenance. We go to warning guides. We only have engine oil level too high at this point in time. So I think I'm going to get back. I'm going to keep all this stuff in stock. In my mind, she did mention about, she thought that it was only cold air coming out of this car fairly constantly. Now I have turned it up to hot and I've started to sweat in here, so I turned it back down to cold, but there is hot air coming out of this car at this point. We also have 114343. So I'm going to get back to the garage, going to pull the bonnet, going to do a little bit of a look and just see what the heck is going on here. Might interrogate a little bit of live data on the way back then. I've pulled back into the workshop at this stage and I'm just having a little fast look. I was looking at, the obvious stuff, pressure sensors and stuff that I'm kind of aware that fail on these things. So everything seems to me at this point in time to be fairly happy. Just giving you a pointer out. Engine oil dilution, 0. Engine oil level, 98 millimeters. Now that was hovering at 80, 88 or so when I turned the car off initially. I might even show you that just for, I suppose, I heard a timing chain jingling like mad there on a startup. Just watch that dropping. And this is because there's going to be oil pumped around the internals of the engine, which in theory makes the oil level drop, or the sloshing occurrence, or whatever it may be. So I'm going to just install this thing out. Okay, on the immediate stop, we have 86, 87, 88, and it'll keep on rising. So it rises from the initial turn off. If you dip this car for oil now, we will have about 10 millimeter less on the dipstick than what we will in 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 minutes time. I'm assuming it'll go slow from there. But anyway, so our oil level sensor is working. I'm only starting or hitting on, the easy stuff at this point in time, and we'll roll from there on to maybe our AdBlue issues. In the immediate, guys, just for my own sake, I've drained a bit of oil out of this. Oil level was too high in it. She's gone down now to 67 millimeters. Probably going to rise slightly over the next moment or two. I had a manifold absolute pressure sensor in the intake manifold was blocked solid, so I've cleaned that, and hopefully that's going to get rid of our under torque fault. And what else am I going to say? I'm going to actually maybe thinking I might erase faults in the immediate. I have a little run to do, a drive to do, so I might go for a drive and see what's going to come back. And I'm hoping that potentially it is only going to be these two. I'm thinking and are hoping. So if I'm back to just them after my drive, well, at that point in time, my oil level could be rising because of DPF regeneration frequencies or something along those lines, but my back pressure is not high, so I'm not rightly concerned now at this point. I just think too many people have got caught with too much oil in it, so we're going to erase faults, see what happens. And we do know of the faults that we had here in here, so I'm going to get rid of all of these and see where we end up after my drive. Fast arrays done, and they're the only two that didn't go away. Green tree everywhere else. Do it again. They stay there. So maybe we get into special functions and see is there any oil level resets that can be done on this. I'm back from my spin at this point in time. When I got to my own house, what I done was I stalled the car out, erased the faults, and lo and behold, they went away. So a drive, once we were gone down to where we needed to, a drive got rid of these oil level faults, okay? But I believe, from memory, we had that oil level in millimeters down to around 60, or maybe even 60, 70, 67, 68, something like that, I believe. And then once I got back from my journey, which wasn't too much, I don't know, I gave you a record of that. It's only about 20 kilometers maybe or so. Actually, it's probably about 24, because the last oil change was 24 kilometers ago, and I would have done a couple of oil resets on this thing to try and get rid of that fault. But 24 kilometers, we look like we're just after rising on oil level. Now, I don't have any faults in there at this point in time, but my belief is, maybe hard to see, but the actual full or max mark is just there where my nail is. And I believed I had it down around there. So after 24 kilometers, I'm thinking that I'm going to drive a bit more. I'm going to drive this car again tonight. Is all of this, I got no SCR open circuit faults or any of that crack, but could this all be derived from, I'll just go back and show you that we hadn't any faults. Could all of this be derived from, that's where I was, green tree. Could all of this be derived from the engine seeing the oil level high and then shutting down a load of circuits? That I can't tell you. I actually physically don't know. But I'm going to drive it again tonight and see does it go up from where we were. Maybe 2 millimeter or so below the max. So we had 24 kilometers, sorry. So drive it home again tonight. See what happens and see does that oil level rise again. And is it rising constantly on her? And this being the problem that she's going back to garages and they're taking out some oil and lo and behold leaving her on, and then it's rising again and again and again. Is it happening that fast? I don't know. It's funny, isn't it? We'll give it a spin tonight. So what are we on now? 114370, and we can also see from our oil counter on this, when we change the oil, what kilometers will be on it since we've drained it. Back from my evening drive again, back to my own house, etc. We have oil level at 91% now. Am I getting caught is all with just too much oil in this thing? I do not know. I'm also debating on our AdBlue faults. I can't remember specifically what they were, but there was 2 AdBlue faults open circuit. Could they have been in here since the lads changed this AdBlue tank, the actual receipt that we had here? Don't know. After what have we got? So we've 60 kilometers on here since I in theory changed the oil, not changed the oil, drained the oil in this thing, and done a couple of resets. No fault codes, so we're still basically at 91 millimeters. I'm going to show you the dipstick in a moment, and I have a green tree here. So go back again, we'll do a smart high-speed scan again. But I had no faults in there today again. So if we had a hard fault with anything AdBlue related after my 60 kilometers, you would be saying that it potentially would have rose its weary head by now. Is it all derived and focusing on just our, that's me, I stalled my engine as I normally do here with my gear lever. Are we only all derived by oil level getting too high? All I can do at this stage, I'm going to send the car back to the customer. Gerald came down from Dublin and she's floating around Portlaw at this point in time. She came down, stayed in Waterford, and then she's back out here today. So I'm thinking for now, I'm going to send this on its merry way. I may draw out another bit of oil out of this thing. And the actual marking is again very much where I had it after my first drive. So I'm going to maybe just bring it down to the midway point. It is stopped at about 10 or 15 minutes here, so to leave the oil residue drop. And we're just going to have a look. Is this just silly and nothing wrong? don't know, is it overfilled? Anyway, that's where I'm going to stop it at this point, and hopefully I'll have a follow-up in a week or so, okay? Okay, guys, what has happened so far between the last snippet and now? The customer is from far away, so she was still a bit concerned. She didn't know what was wrong. I didn't know what was wrong. Was it just oil related, blah, blah, blah? Were we going to get an issue with AdBlue or whatever it was? Rather than just it being either a disconnected item or component, or is it inhibiting something to do with circuits because of too much oil in it? What we advised and what she said, she wasn't in a hurry, and said, I think I'll do an hour or two of driving around the locality and come back to you if that's okay. And I said yes. So she has just pulled up. We're out on the roadside, and I didn't even plug in my scan tool yet. She got no messages back whatsoever. I'm just actually seeing that I'm a little bit on an uneven surface on the side of the road, so maybe I would be better off just to get ourselves on a little bit of a more level playing field. I'll pull down outside my garage actually. Okay, sorry, I'm actually just trying to get the car parked on a flat surface so we can get a true reading of our oil quantity, number one, and then a code scan, number two, just to see what the oil level is like now after 100 kilometers, 90 kilometers, should you actually do. There's our odometer reading at this point. There's Marvel looking in again. Okay, so you're going to get to see this with me, and we might actually stall. Okay. Sometimes Marvel draws more attention than the cars on my videos. Guys be saying, oh, he's a lovely dog, look at him waiting patiently, blah, blah, blah. Now, Mary. One man and his dog, eh? One dog. Here. Oh, okay, right. We have, again, after another 90 kilometers of driving, we have no faults. I'm going to look at our oil level. As I said, it's only sitting with a minute or two, so most likely, again, the oil level will rise. So we're just going to see. We're going for oil. We'll look at distance, because I done that oil reset when it was in my custody on the primary sitting. So we had 60 kilometers at a point, and then she, as I said there, went for, she says, a 90 kilometer drive. Search. So should that be 150 kilometers we should have? So oil level, distance since last oil change, and we'll say okay. Okay, I don't think, I was kind of suggesting that we were at around 63 or so, on the 63 to 67 is what I actually said to herself, the owner of the car, when it was sitting stagnant. And that is, as you see it there, slightly rising at this point in time. But my guts are saying that there's not too much wrong with this car. Again, my advice to her at this point is head home. We'll touch base in a week or so once she gets to drive, and I'm asking and requesting a follow-up. There's so much after going on with this car, guys. I can't say it's this, it's that, it's the other. So on this occasion, I'm probably going to close the video up now, and we'll look for a part 2 for a follow-up, even if it's a really short one. But at least I can close it up, get it saved to YouTube, and then we'll see where we go, okay? At this point in time, that's actually the number I suggested we were at to her, 67 millimeters. So this is where we're sitting right now. I might actually dip it as well just before she pulls off, and we'll hopefully see you all in part 2. Can't class it as a fix, but it's information, or we're gathering information so far, and we'll prove whether it's a fix in a week or two, and I'll see you all in the next cartoon. Guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you in part 2.